I'm sure by now you've heard of the incredible story of this man Ibrahim Traore. But let me put something in perspective for you. This man's life has been threatened, not with words only. There have been attempts to take his life 19 times in the space of 2 years. I'm sure you still remember this incident when Donald Trump was shot at, but he survived it. This incident took the whole world by storm because it was an assassination attempt on the president. That was one. Imagine 19 times. What is incredible is that, well, for someone like Donald Trump, you could say that his ideas are very controversial and a lot of people find opposition to them. Furthermore, he's also a figure who infuriates a lot of nationalities. So people said it was Iran who was behind that assassination attempt against him. And it made sense, not justified, but it made sense in that way. But Ibrahim Traore, do you know what he has done? First of all, his coup was bloodless. It was not even a coup anyway. Number two, everything he is doing is for the progress of his own country. Think about that for a minute. His crime is that he's trying to develop his own motherland. No, think about it again. And the truth is, this is the story of Ibrahim Traore that is popular. But there is more you don't even know. And in this video, I'm going to highlight 7 incredible episodes that have occurred so far in the life of Ibrahim Traore. But as usual, it doesn't only end there. I'm going to take my time to extract crucial life lessons behind all of these incidents that you can also apply to improve upon your quality of life. Let's dive right in. The first one is that he did not conduct any coup, contrary to the things you will hear on social media. This is a very important point, and permit me to explain in detail, okay? Now, Ibrahim Traore was sworn into office in October 2023, and from then, he has already fulfilled about 80% of everything he promised to do. Some of his achievements so far, I'm sure you've heard of some of them, but these are some I have confirmed personally, and it's important that I tell you some of them, so stick with me here. He launched a plan to develop an 18-month project of a railway that runs through the entire country. This is called the Faso Rail, and you can look it up yourself. He launched an atomic energy nuclear plant to improve energy production in the country. These are multi-million-dollar projects, if not billion-dollar projects. He's building an integrated pharmaceutical plant, which will be a game changer for the medical industry. He has built the first ever tomato processing plant in Burkina Faso. Amazing. One of my favorites is mobile health clinics. Now, these are mobile health units that go into rural areas and provide free medical services to the citizens. Another one I really love so much is giving out services of agricultural equipment like tractors for free to farmers and also subsidizing the products they use for their farming activities. Incredible stuff. So, the point we are trying to make is that he did not conduct a coup. And how do I have the effrontery to say this? Well, I didn't say it. Listen to Professor Lumumba, a renowned commentator and Pan-Africanist, saying and explaining why what was done by Ibrahim Traore was not a coup, but a revolution.
These are not coup d'etats. These are revolutions. They are revolutions because it has become obvious that those who are lackeys of France in the Sahelian region were manipulating the electoral process, were using institutions such as the judiciary for purposes of perpetuating the French agenda. And these young men from the military came out and said, no, when the people cannot do it through traditional revolution, we are going to do it through the barrel of the gun and use the institution of the military to change the equation. And
now wait a second. These people were not voted into power. They didn't come into office through any constitutional provision. They did not even win the popular votes or the popular even opinion necessarily of the masses of the country. But then someone as highly esteemed and renowned as Professor Lumumba is talking about how it was not a coup but a revolution. That is incredible. And it is all based on the kind of work that is being done. They are not even looking at necessarily how the power was snatched from the ruling governments anymore, but the kind of impact that is being done. And that is amazing. Now, what can we learn from this? Look, the truth is, nothing is good or bad in itself, depending on how and why you do them. If you allow your positive drive to move you to break certain laws and shift certain norms and shake certain boundaries, at the end of the day, that deed will find a way to be justified. Now, this is amazing because I even remember a scenario in the Bible where Jesus Christ himself was in the temple and caused a lot of distraction by turning over tables and ruining what was happening over there in anger. Now, this is the same Messiah who did not come to steal, kill, and destroy, but to give life and give it in abundance. But he destroys something, but it is not considered evil. Think about that. It is actually justified because of the kind of drive that he had and the motive behind what he was doing. Are you catching this? So, if you are genuine at heart and you want to fulfill a certain positive cause in this world, don't stop at anything. Even if you have to bend some rules in order to make sure it happens, you have to break the status quo and the norms that hold certain injustices in place in order to make sure that the right thing is done. Go for it. Because as Martin Luther King Jr. once said, one has a moral responsibility to disobey unjust laws. Now let that sink in. The second thing about Ibrahim Traore that I want to reveal to you today is that what he's doing now was not his first show. And that's amazing. But before we even look at that, if this is your first time visiting this channel, this is Eqay Inspire YouTube channel. And on this channel, what we do is extract crucial life lessons from important life stories. Now, we also run Thrive in Africa podcast because we believe that we can only have a thriving Africa if we thrive in Africa. If any of this resonates with you, hit the subscribe button below, turn on the notification bell so that whenever we post a new video, you're going to get notified. Now let's go into the number 2 right away. So as I said, this was not his first show. What do I mean by this? President Ibrahim Traore came into power after overseeing operations to control some terrorist activities as a captain in the army. Now that was really where he stood out as somebody who cared for the nation and won some loyal support from his colleagues. Because it is these same colleagues who helped him later to carry out the revolution. Now here is what is interesting. If he did not discharge his duties as a captain with so much diligence and hard work, he would not have been able to win the kind of loyalty he got from the people that he was working with. Now what can we learn from this? Look, how you do anything is how you do everything. Or how you do anything is how you are perceived to do everything. So make sure you set a great track record wherever you are right now. Because whatever you are doing is going to serve as two very important things in your life. One, it's going to be a training ground for bigger battles that you're going to fight in the future. And number 2, you're actually building some recommendation and some loyalty or disloyalty, depending on how you are carrying out your duties right now. So be very mindful of this and make sure you make the right decisions, because you might be doing yourself and your own future a big disservice if you don't do things right. Because as Oprah Winfrey once said, doing your best at this moment puts you in the best place in the next moment. Now the third thing I want to tell you about Ibrahim Traore is that he is richer than money. Now let me explain. You see, the guards of Ibrahim Traore were called into a secret meeting and they were offered $5 million to make sure they take his life. Now that may not sound like a big deal to you, depending on where you are, but $5 million to Ibrahim Traore's guards is a lot of money. Because guess what? Ibrahim Traore himself is worth about $100,000 because he has kept himself on the same salary he was taking as a soldier before becoming head of state. Now imagine the president is taking something so meager. Obviously, his guards will be taking way less, or maybe around the same figure. And so $5 million was surely a game-changing and a life-changing amount for these guards. But guess what? They refused it. In fact, they accepted the money, brought it to Ibrahim Traore and said that, look, this is the money we're given to end you. Wow! Now what can we learn from this? Listen, a good name is not only better than riches. It is the real wealth that you should aspire to have in this world. Because imagine that Ibrahim Traore's good name and reputation, although not accompanied with riches for himself or for his people, made it impossible for his closest guards to turn their back on him, even for such a huge amount of money. They are loyal to him with their life. And that, my dear friends, is bigger than any wealth that can be quantified in US dollars. Because as Proverbs 22 verse 1 says in the Bible, a good name is more desirable than great riches. And here's the part I really love. To be esteemed is better than silver or gold. The fourth incredible thing I want to introduce you to about President Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso is that he has enemies for a good reason. Did you hear what I just said? He has enemies for a good reason. Now let me tell you what I mean. As great as Ibrahim Traore is making Burkina Faso, he has suffered 19 assassination attempts. The good he is doing is the very reason why some people are unhappy. In fact, not just unhappy, they are restless. But one thing that you must recognize about that is that this hatred he is receiving from that cross-section of human beings is actually a great signal that he is doing something impactful. You see, there are some points you get in your life, if you don't annoy people, then you're not doing well. Or your impact is not being felt on a scale that is supposed to be. Now, what can we learn from this? The lesson is what I heard someone say, which is that the opposite of love is not hatred, but indifference. What that means is that whatever you choose to do, if you do it so well, some people will love you for it, and others will hate you with their life for it. So don't look at the hatred as the opposite of love. The opposite of love, or the opposite of the sign that you're doing something great, is that nobody is reacting to it. If nobody is talking about the thing you are doing, nobody is hating it or loving it, then you are really not doing well. That is the opposite of love. So hatred is a good thing if you are doing the right thing. Did you catch that? Churchill once put it this way: you have enemies? Good. That means you've stood up for something sometime in your life. The fifth incredible thing about Ibrahim Traore that I want to expose to you today is that he makes his deeds speak. He doesn't speak. He lets his deeds do the talking. Now, what do I mean by this? Ibrahim Traore instructed his Minister for Communication that he should never orchestrate some campaign to preach the good works that they are doing as a government. Now imagine that. And the reason he said is that he wants the citizens to feel the impacts themselves and speak about the tangible things that they are seeing change in their daily lives themselves. So don't make videos about the projects we are building. Let the people talk about the real ways they are seeing being built in their locality. Let them talk about the farm produce that is becoming abundant because of the impact of the policies of the government. Let them talk about the healing that they are receiving from the mobile health units that are being sent into the rural areas. Now, what can we learn from this? Let your deeds be so tangible that they speak for themselves on your behalf. Now, I'm one big advocate for letting your light so shine before men that if you have anything good you are doing, don't hide it. Put it on a lampstand so that the whole world can see and glorify your Father which is in heaven. In fact, the Bible also says that we are the salt of the earth. Now, salt cannot have any impact if it's hidden somewhere. You have to come out and show what you are capable of doing. And in some cases, you have to talk about it. But you see, your deeds should do the best part of that speaking, because you are not always going to be around to defend yourself. Sometimes the things you did have to speak for you when you are not there. So make it a point that you don't even need a CV. At the mention of your name, we should have a picture in our minds that, oh, this is that guy who does this and who does that and who can be trusted with this and that. Let people advocate for you because of what they know you can do. As Jeff Bezos once said, your brand is what people say about you when you are not in the room. Now hear that again in your mind. Did you hear that? Huh? Oh, you did. I'm sorry I didn't hear you the first time. The sixth incredible thing, this is amazing, about Ibrahim Traore, I want to tell you, is that he has a machinery for making people patriotic. Now listen to this. According to Ibrahim Traore, everyone is inherently patriotic. He said that he has been able to provide logistics to people and also preach to them to believe in themselves and that the country is the best thing they have. And this alone, logistics and preaching self-belief have put so much life into the patriotism in them that was sleeping hitherto, to the extent that it has become the biggest weapon or the biggest strategy for fighting terrorism in the country. Now, one thing you must get is that terrorism has plagued Burkina Faso for a long time, and there have been even foreign operatives coming in to try and help curb the situation to no avail. And yet, for the first time in a long time, these terrorist activities have been put under great control simply because there are people who are willing to volunteer to get trained and get armed to fight terrorism because of the kind of patriotism that has been awakened in them by this simple strategy of providing great logistics and great inspiration to believe in themselves and the country. Are you catching this, my people? To the extent that Ibrahim Traore even mentioned that if they needed 1 million youth to help fight terrorism, they will get it like that, at a snap of a finger.
If we decide that we want 1 million Burkinabe to fight, we will have them, volunteers for the defense of the homeland. Yes, people are ready, they are committed, and they do this without fearing danger because this is their homeland.
Now, what can we learn from this? Look, most people actually have the capacity to be loyal and patriotic. A lot of the time, they have it in them, but it's sleeping. And if you have the right machinery, you can wake it up. And what is that machinery? According to what Ibrahim Traore just described to us, if you have a business, for instance, you can make your people patriotic by giving them the logistics and the inspiration. What that means is that you empower them. You make them believe that they have a bright future for them here in the company. And you let them see themselves in the future of the company. Don't let them feel apart or disjoint with the purpose, the drive, and the mission of this company. And beyond that, let them also feel empowered by the logistics, the equipment, the tools you have given them to make them work well and safely. When you do this for people, you realize that they will even do everything they can to protect the brand because they see themselves as a part of the brand and not apart from the brand. Now, as Simon Sinek once said, when people are financially invested, they want a return. But when people are emotionally invested, they want to contribute. My goodness, this is deep. When they are financially invested, they want a return. But if you find a way to get them emotionally invested, they want to give, they want to contribute, they want to return the return. Oh my goodness. Wow. The seventh thing I want to tell you about Ibrahim Traore that will blow your mind is that he generates wealth from literally nothing, or something that was considered to be meaningless or worthless hitherto. Now let's get into what that means. The truth is that many superpowers are baffled right now because they expected Burkina Faso to be begging for aid and help. But Ibrahim Traore is not seeking aid, he's buying machinery, he's not borrowing money, but he's implementing every mega policy that he has promised his people. And people are wondering, where is he getting the money from? Some people are even speculating that he's getting the money from Russia and China and other people. But according to Ibrahim Traore, everything they get from China and Russia in terms of equipment, they purchase it themselves. So where is the money coming from? He said that the money is there, but it has always been siphoned out of the country by theft and corruption and wastage. So all he has done was to cut down, or as much as possible, try to eliminate the corruption out of the picture. And that alone has produced an entire revenue stream for the country that did not exist before. Can you imagine that? Now, what can we learn from this? Theft and bad leadership is the main reason for a lot of undue suffering and poverty, especially in Africa. Now, let me not limit it to Africa, but wherever there is theft and misappropriation of funds, people suffer, and struggle is inevitable, both for the leader and the follower. And this is not just political leaders we are talking about here. Church leaders are part, business leaders are part, family leaders, family heads are also part. And there is more. In many organizations, people keep suffering simply because leadership engages in a lot of wastage and doesn't put their mind to making sure that things are done efficiently, effectively, and people are treated well and there is no misappropriation of funds. So if you're a leader in any capacity whatsoever, which I believe you are, remember this. And also remember that you don't do your people a favor more than you do yourself a favor if you choose to live right. Because let me tell you one thing. You remember the time Ibrahim Traore came to Ghana during the inauguration of the new president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, and he was given a resounding round of applause and cheers when his name was mentioned. I don't know if you guys caught the statement that incident made, but this is someone in a foreign land receiving cheers at the mention of his name, not for things he has done for the people that he has come to meet or the people giving him the cheers, but the things that he has done for his own people back home. Look, the real wealth in this world is going to be enjoyed by people who find themselves in leadership positions and they lead very well, such that everyone benefits. Because even if you step out of your zone into another place, you'll be given a resounding welcome. You'll be celebrated. And this is real wealth. Look, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, the first president of Ghana, died decades ago. But there are still African countries that when you go and even say that you are Ghanaian, they respect you so much because of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah's impact in those countries. Now imagine what his family, his children will enjoy as privileges if they find themselves in any part of the continent because of the impact of their father. So if you're a political leader or a leader in whatever capacity, the biggest legacy you can leave for your kids is not to amass wealth, to steal, misappropriate things and go and keep in some foreign bank somewhere where they will never even be able to access it years later because of the bad deals you've made and the papers that they won't be able to get. My goodness. The biggest legacy you can leave for your kids is a good name, because with that, everywhere they go, they will be treated right. But if you steal and give to them and we know that their father got the wealth by theft, wherever we see those kids, wherever people see those kids, they will be treated with disgust and mistreated for the most part. They won't be able to enjoy in peace. So which do you choose, my people? The way that gives freedom and true wealth, or the way that limits you, punishes people unduly with suffering, and makes your own people suffer the consequences? Well, that's it for this video. Until I see you in the next one, which is already being prepared. Remember this. Life always gives us episodes of chaos and peace. But after each episode, pause and ask yourself, what can I learn from this?